Watching this Knicks game last night, here's what I thought. First of all, no defense, which is fine. They're going to have those nights. And the other team, in this case, Minnesota, without two of their star players, was hitting everything. Tayshaun Prince was just amazing last night, especially from three. As was
Taurean Prince, right?
Yeah. As was Julius Randle. They both were great last night. It was a really fun game because it was back and forth. Imagine if that game didn't have any timeouts last night.
Oh, I mean, it'd be
unbelievable.
Great. Total entertainment, man.
The last 5 minutes, it's stop here, stop there, get the whiteboard out. Nobody's paying attention anyway. So why don't we just play it through and get rid of these stupid timeouts?
I know you hate those timeouts.
I hate it because it just ruins the game. Because the game is great, it's up and down. Okay, so it's an offensive game. We always laud them when they play defense because that's in our DNA. That's who we are as Knicks fans.
Yes.
We love defense. But we also love, an explosive offensive night every now and again. And last night happened to be that for Julius Randle. What I thought, not only were the Minnesota Timberwolves making their shots, but the thing that bothered me in the last 5 minutes was like just the craziness of Emmanuel Quickley running all over the place.
Yeah, not under control.
Right, completely out of control. And then he throws the ball to Julius Randle like with 3 seconds on the shot clock, 3 feet from the 3-point line.
Yeah, they were just...
the awareness of Emmanuel Quickley at times. I love the kid. I told you I love the kid when they got him here from Kentucky. My buddies in Kentucky gave me glowing reports. And for the most part, he's been like 85% of that. He's been great. He's been energy. He has fun. He makes a big 3-pointer last night. He's got to do his little dance going backwards. And then from that point on, it sucked. He was terrible.
You telling me the dance had something to do with it?
No,
that was a touch the money dance?
I mean, listen, he plays a brand of basketball. I kind of like it because he's having fun and he's giving you energy and he's exciting. So I kind of like that. But his last 3 to 4 minutes last night was just brutal.
Yeah.
And it really put the team in a really tough spot, whether it be, the steal and, Breen and Clyde trying to figure out why the Minnesota coach would, replay that steal. And you realize that when you're looking at it, there was no foul there. And, and Emmanuel Quickley is completely out of control going down the middle. It's 1 of 82. It's a bad loss because of the situation and the condition that the Timberwolves found themselves in. Yeah. But I'm not going to get crazy about it because you know what it's going to come down to for all of our hockey teams here and our 2 basketball teams is going to be how they play in the playoffs.
Well, specifically, and this is why last night I think Julius Randle specifically, because there's a lot of guys that, Jalen Brunson, I'm not worried about. He was great in the playoffs last year for Dallas. And the rest of the guys, like Josh Hart, I'm not necessarily worried about.
He missed a layup last night.
Yeah,
oh, right.
But still, I'm not necessarily worried about him the way his game is.
No,
who I'm worried about is Julius Randle because the year that he was great, the MVP chance, we're talking about all NBA stuff, all of those things. The year that he was great, he turned into a pumpkin in the playoffs. He was awful.
That's not going to happen.
So bad. Okay, how do we know that?
I know how I know that.
You're going to tell me Jalen Brunson?
That's how I know that.
But still, what do we see from Julius Randle at times?
Jalen Brunson will control the team. Jalen Brunson will get him open shots.
We still see too much of him trying to take over when he feels like he has to. Well,
last night, if you had over 50 points, you would have felt like you had to.
I know. Last night aside, I mean, you've even come in here and complained after some of these wins, saying like, he stops the offense. You're moving the offense. Then all of a sudden, he stops, and then he gets all worked up, and we've seen this before.
He takes him out of the technical.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
So, this is what you can't guarantee me that he's going to be great in the playoffs.
I just think that because Jalen Brunson is here, he's going to be.
I hope so.
He's not going to have nearly the pressure on him. It's not going to be like.
Yes, he is going to have the pressure on him.
And by the way, can Tom Thibodeau draw up an out of bounds play? Can we draw up an out of bounds play once or twice?
Well, he leaves it up to the players, if you notice that. Like every one of these things, there's a couple options on the play, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
It's just like I don't want to coach these guys and I don't want to tell them what to do. I mean, sometimes that drives me crazy too. But, look, they're in the middle of a good year. I do not – I was watching some of the replay just to watch some of the things that were going on at the end of the game last night. Look, the Timberwolves came out and they shot lights out. And Prince was, 8 for 8 from 3-point?
It was ridiculous.
I mean, they had both the Knicks and the Timberwolves made the same amount of 3-pointers. The Knicks shot well last night.
Yeah, I think they were 50% from 3.
The other thing that bothered me, too, at the end of the game, it was way too many layups for the Timberwolves. Yeah, they have hitting some three-pointers, but whether it be a putback or whether it be, nobody guarding the rim because Mitchell Robinson wasn't out there. And I don't know, he's not out there because Hartenstein's out there, whatever, but maybe it's because Mitchell's not happy with his play. And
he put all that stuff out there. He apologized for it, but he had that Snapchat stuff that he didn't want to do cardio out there.
He said he had family issues. And, here's the thing. Every single this will never happen. I know it will never happen. But have you ever noticed, and my hockey team, they don't really get in trouble on Twitter. It's at all. I don't even see them on Twitter. But I know
about the Wasps?
No, I'm talking about the Rangers.
Oh.
I'm also I know for a fact that Lou Lamoriello is they're off social media. I don't want to see any nonsense on social. You're a hockey player. You're not a social media star, whatever. I'm sure that's probably the way he's thinking. And there's never an issue with any of these players on social media. The only guy that got in trouble with social media was Tony D'Angelo because he was supporting Donald Trump.
I'll give you one more.
Yeah.
Ovechkin, Putin avatar. Remember that one?
Yeah, yes.
That was another one.
But he doesn't really even tweet either.
He doesn't tweet. He just had a profile picture of him and Vladimir Putin. They don't get involved in any
of this nonsense and all this other crap and air their grievances on social media. There's none of that because the moment that happens is the moment that they're shipped out. Goodbye. Get out of here.
Well, with Lou, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the same thing with the Rangers. I'm sure that there's somewhat of because I don't see any hockey players really tweeting anything. I mean, I don't. I mean, even from Connor McDavid to Nathan McKinnon and all these great players, I don't see
the only guy
ever get in trouble on Twitter except for Tony D'Angelo because it was a support for Donald Trump, and at that point in time, it was let's get rid of him and cancel his ass.
Well, the only guy I remember during his playing career who received some sort of attention, it was positive attention, and then fame, and then he's carried that out in his post-playing career, is Paul Bissonnette. In his playing career, he used Twitter in a positive way.
He's playing for the Coyotes, I think.
Okay, but he used it in a way where people were entertained by him, and he kind of translated that into a media career.
Just to go back to Mitchell Robinson for a second. Okay, you got cardio. You ran up and down the court, and quite frankly, you are the fifth option on offense.
Yeah,
and your option is in and around the basketball rim, and you are all about playing defense, and then you'll get a lob here or there. They don't want to put you on the line because you can't hit free throws. You don't have no mid-range jumper, what to speak of. You got to know who you are. And then I know he had some family issue or something that kind of precipitated all this stuff. But these guys tend to go on social media and they air their grievances. I don't give a crap.
Yeah, I think
maybe that's why he didn't play as much as he and Hartenstein got a little bit more run last night.
He ends up putting it on Snapchat of all things, where it disappears, thinking that someone's not going to screen grab it and tweet it out and put it on some other platform. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough moment for him. I think he does realize what type of player he is, and when he's been healthy, he's been a key cog for them.
He's a big part of this team,
Of course he is, yeah.
And he does little things that, and they do show up in the box score. The rebounds, the block shots, all that kind of stuff shows up in the box score.
They need him desperately. Yes. They need him.
I mean, I know. The last thing you want right now is one of your starting players to be in some mental space.
I don't think that. I think he's going to be fine. I think Julius Randle's the one guy I'm worried about because I think he's going to try to do too much. That's the one guy I'm worried about.
Jalen Brunson will handle everything.
Okay.
Him and Josh Hart, by the way.
But I'm telling you, when you get the ball in your hands, though, and you're Julius Randle, and you see how, I mean, he is someone who cares deeply and gets emotional on the court. We see it a ton, and sometimes he uses it to his advantage, and sometimes it's a disadvantage for him.
Let's face it, last night, he was on. So they were feeding him the ball. His third quarter was great.
Yep.
And, I think he kind of ran out of gas there towards the end. There was a couple bad turnovers, but the turnovers were only because somebody threw him the ball with 3 seconds to go on the shot clock. Hello, wake up. I mean, So that's kind of the frustrating thing. And it's one game. And, I said yesterday about this little end of season schedule here now because they have, 8 or 9 games?
Yeah, the boomer stretch,
Yeah, 11 games left. I mean, these are all games where, they're going to be favored in or have a very good chance of winning. And this is especially after beating Denver.
Yeah, and I was listening to Tiki and Tierney on the drive home yesterday, and we've talked about how great it would be if the Knicks get into the playoffs 4 or 5 seed and then end up winning that series, and that would be a huge thing for the Knicks, winning a playoff series, getting into the second round and being competitive. And BT said if they don't win now, he said if they don't win a series, then it's a total failure.
Well, it's pivot time then.
He said pivot time, total failure season for the Knicks if they don't win a round. Now, I can't say total failure, but there will be extreme disappointment in the Knicks fan base if they end up losing to Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers. That would be a huge disappointment.
They got to get to the second round.
Yeah, but would you say total failure, though?
I wouldn't say total failure, but they have to get there. That's why Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart are here.
Yeah, I would agree.
Is to elevate these younger guys. The other guy, and maybe because Julius had such a impactful night scoring, the other guy that was kind of missing in action last night was R.J. Barrett.
Sure.
So, but again, if you have a guy that's scoring over 50 points, not everybody's going to get a chance to shoot the ball and have as many shots as they normally would. And I think they saw that he was hot. They fed him, and he basically delivered it until the end, and it got helter-skelter. It got helter. They could have they had 2 5-point leads, and you're thinking, okay, this is it. And then Josh Hart misses that free throw, and then all of a sudden, Minnesota comes down and no rim protection whatsoever. And you hit a couple layups and a couple threes. Next thing you know, you're going home a loser and you're getting on a plane going to Miami.
Yeah, that's right. You go home a loser last night. Bad loss, shouldn't have happened, but you got to flush it. You got to move on because it's regular season basketball and still get either the 4 or 5 seed
for the most part.
Yeah, right.
The team has done that for the most part. They have lost games. They've lost a couple back-to-backs. And then they come back and they beat a team that you wouldn't expect them to beat given the way that they had been playing going into that game. But you could probably say the same thing about Minnesota last night.
Sure.
They had one in their last 5 or 6 games.
Right. And the guys are out and they come in and they're inspired.
Pros. You know what they have? They have a bunch of Josh Harts on that team is what they have.
Right. All right.
No stars.
Just a bunch of hard-working.
The stars weren't playing.
Lunch pail guys.
Blue-collar guys.
Blue-collar lunch pail guys. That's what the Timberwolves are.
I don't know. It's hard to think that a guy making $20 million is a blue-collar guy, but he definitely plays that way, or they play that way.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.